donuts. I got donuts. I got...
Donut? What's a donut?
Donuts. It looks wrong, but it is so right. Oh, yeah.
And we are live for another episode of Duff and Donuts. I am your host, Kia, not Keith, and I am here again with the lovely Bee. So, last week we talked about Super Eye Patch Wolf, and I really hope you heard it because I really, really love him. Not as much as my partner, though. I love her a lot.
Okay.
But now we're going to be talking about episode 9, Life in the Fastlane. On the Fastlane. So, starts off, nothing really that interesting comparatively, you know what I mean? There's no couch gag.
Yeah, the opening credit, or the opening scene was cut short. They didn't do the whole long intro like they usually do. It just, it was Homer driving into the house, driving into the driveway, and then Marge chasing him to the house with the car.
Yep.
No couch gag, no chalkboard gig, nothing.
Nothing.
Boo.
Kidding.
I actually thought it opened up pretty cute. The kids are actually making breakfast for Marge because it's her birthday.
Yep.
They're talking about what they got her for her birthday, and Bart...
They're making pancakes, and Bart got her a French perfume.
Not just French perfume, but like a whole bottle, like a gallon jug.
Yeah, it's insane.
He makes fun of Lisa, being like, oh, no one's going to want your stupid homemade birthday card with macaroni, but it was actually like a really elaborate portrait of Marge made out of macaroni noodles. It was actually really cool.
Then they go, Lisa surprise her in bed with breakfast and say happy birthday. And during the surprise, Homer thinks it's his birthday.
Yeah, he obviously clearly forgot Marge's birthday, and he's like, oh, it's my birthday, what'd you guys get me? And then he tries to play it off like a joke, oh, I knew it was your birthday, I got you something, and they're like, well, what'd you get her then? And he's like, I'm just gonna go take a stroll around the block, and then you obviously hear him like running and grabbing his keys and driving away.
And then Homer goes to the mall, and the mall's like, they're very particular with time. And then they're like, once it hits 9 o'clock, they're like, thank you for coming to the mall.
Right, because like it looked to me like it was just a bunch of old people that wanted to walk around the mall.
Yeah.
And he's obviously, the earliest person to
the
be there.
lone shopper.
Yeah, the lone shopper trying to pick something.
During this time, Patty and Selma are on the phone with Marge, and who reminds Marge how really awful Homer is when it comes to birthdays, because he always just gets a gift for himself and then puts Marge's name on it.
Right, because he knows she's never going to use it, so he can get her a tackle box or a Connie Chung calendar.
Yeah.
Or it was just like things for him, clearly.
Yeah.
He's not really thinking about Marge. And while Patty and Selma are jerks, and I get that, I kind of totally understand the whole protective of your little sister thing. You don't want your little sister dating a jerk, you know what I mean, or being married to one, obviously.
Right. So they're gonna go to the singing sirloin,
which I think is adorable. I love the little mascot,
Little Meat singing.
Yeah. So it goes in, and it's kind of one of those layered Simpsons jokes where they have the waiters are singing to all the different people for all the different occasions.
It started out with an anniversary.
Anniversary. Oh
baby.
My gosh, what was? Yeah, baby.
And then a death.
A funeral. Yeah. I think there was another one in there too.
No, I think it was just 3.
Was it just 3?
Because then they were gonna do Happy Birthday for Marge.
Oh, that's right. Then
it
Happy
was
Birthday
super.
For Marge.
To me, that was super funny. I was just like, I started laughing really, really hard because I'm like, once it got to the funeral, I'm like, oh man.
Right. Good for that restaurant, incorporating everybody. But I'm, of course, the more rational thinker. I'm like, how is everyone standing that close together and their songs aren't getting blended and it doesn't just sound like loud noise? But that's just me. So Marge is turning...
You don't like fun. So.
I don't. I'm a fun sucker. Marge is turning 34. Patty and Selma continue to make their comments about Homer, the way he eats, just shoveling food in his mouth, and then Homer kind of gets the drift of it, and he's like, well, I haven't given Marge my present yet. So he holds
Marge is like enamored by both of her children's presents.
Oh yeah, she's talking about the perfume. Well, I mean, she's not. She's very clearly not into Bart's present, but she's trying her best to try to like make him feel like, oh, I'm gonna wear it on a really special occasion, and if I wore it now, it would be too special or something like that.
Have you ever done that before?
No, not really.
You've never done that even with gifts from
no,
a certain someone?
No. Actually, my kid's good at making gifts, so.
Your kid.
Well, I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah.
My kid, our kid, is good at making gifts.
You're like that sometimes when I like say something we should do, and you're like, yeah, sure.
I apologize. Anyway, back into how Homer sucks as a partner and how I'm great. No, I'm just kidding. He holds up a big heavy box. You think, oh, what's he gonna give her? A bowling ball drops out from the bottom, and not only is it like, hey, here's a crappy present, but it also squishes her cake.
And it has his name on it.
And it has his name on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, and obviously when they're going to bed, Marge is clearly upset, and she's like, well, you had the holes drilled for your fingers, and you had it engraved with your name, and he's coming up with all these lame excuses about it. That's how you know it's from me.
And then, like, the thing is, he's like, well, if you're not going to use it, I guess I'll use it.
Yeah, I guess I'll use it.
Nope, I'm going to use it.
So she goes to the bowling alley, and I'm not sure what kind of shoe sizes there are out there, but she says she wears a 13 double A. What is a double A? Does that mean it's... I have no clue.
I have no idea. I don't... It's super narrow, actually.
Is it? Okay.
Double A is super narrow, because 4E is super wide.
Okay, so...
Because B is medium.
So she just has, like, really long, skinny...
narrow feet. But the joke is she's like, I'm a size 13 double A. And he does... We
have a 9 and a 15.
Yeah, they're like, we have a 9 and a 5.
No, I thought it was 15.
I thought it was a 5. Am I wrong? I don't know, man.
I could be wrong, but that's how I have it in my notes.
So they go to the Bowl-orama.
Barney's Bowl-orama.
Yeah, and fun fact, not 3 episodes ago, the newscaster says Barney's Bowl-orama burned down, so continuity error.
Well, it happens a lot. In the hurricane episode, doesn't it get blown up on top of like a peak in Springfield or something?
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, so she's never bowled before. She throws the ball down, and she can hit one pin. Mm-hmm. Then she sees out of the corner of her eye Jacques, and he is getting strike after strike. So, of course, they strike up a little conversation. He calls her Homer, which I think is funny. But then she's like, oh, no, Homer's my ball's name. He offers to give her a lesson. And basically his lesson is just pick up Homer, pick him up, throw, damn you. And then she all of a sudden gets a strike, which I don't know if it's supposed to be humorous, but like it's kind of like dry humor to me. Yeah. Like it's just kind of like, oh. Because she's like, you're a very good teacher.
It was funny. It's supposed to be funny. It's kind of just like... So at that time, French people are like super passionate with whatever they do. Mm-hmm. That was the understandingly joke about it.
Gotcha.
They're like, do it with all your passion.
I see. Okay.
Omelette du flamand.
And honestly, like for him to become her love interest in this episode, I think actually they purposely made him French because obviously she's from a French heritage, and as we know, she was studying French when she was in high school. So I think it's just kind of throwback.
I don't think anyone knows that though. Like this is season 1.
I mean, I guess so far they wouldn't know that.
Like,
but they're gonna find out.
No one knows. Like, everyone just knows them as ghosts. Everyone just knows them as Patty and Selma. They're not Patty and Selma Bouvier.
They haven't said it yet?
No, I don't think so.
I think maybe in the first episode they
did.
Might
Did
have.
they? Okay.
I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
But the fact that like you knew she was like, I don't think I didn't know this.
Okay, you didn't know she Bouvier, really?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I thought it was just this funny name, like Bouvier. Like now that I say it in a French accent, like Bouvier.
Okay.
Crayon.
So while Jacques is teaching Marge how to bowl, it flashes back to Homer and the kids at home.
Pizza for dinner.
Right, classic, oh, I'm a dad home with my kids for the first time ever, probably.
Legit, that's what my dad, like, so, when my dad, when my mom went to Texas for 2 weeks, and it was just me, my dad, my brother, and sister,
Mm-hmm.
we literally had pizza and hamburger helper every day.
That's cute.
Like,
that was sweet.
Like, it was either, like, I was so sick of pizza by the end of it.
I bet.
Like, every other day, it's like, oh, I got new Tombstone pizza. I ordered Pizza Hut. I ordered Godfather's. I'm like, can we cook something else?
Oh, man.
Like, we have a KFC, like, 2 blocks away.
Oh, okay. I like that. That's your idea of can we cook something
I
else?
want KFC is really yummy.
I mean, I would like to switch it up if I.
Homegirl, I'm craving KFC right now. Leave me alone.
Kind of sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what? Forget this podcast. Let's go.
No. Let's finish this podcast. Then we'll get KFC.
All right. And we are not endorsed by KFC, just in case you're wondering.
I wish. But, so, like, that, I really, like, really felt that in my bones.
The whole dad thing.
The whole dad being, like, as legit, I am the 100% opposite of my father.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, I know how to cook, but, like, you guys don't have taste buds, so I can't cook for you guys. So I'm kind of, like, stuck in this limbo where I'll just cook my own dinner.
I mean, I apologize, man. I don't know
It's
what to tell
fine.
you. So Homer has a list he's following that Marge apparently wrote for him.
Mm-hmm.
And at first he like kind of has the right idea about it, where he's like, oh, I get to spend time with you kids, but then he's like, does time always drag like this? Because he realizes, like, you know, I guess to him it's boring,
Right.
You know?
Boring, you say? Ooh.
I said to him.
Ooh. Okay.
But anyway, so it flashes back. Jacques actually gives Marge a bowling glove,
That says marriage.
and it's in her size with her name on it. So, I mean, that's like symbolizing, like, hey, your husband got you something with the wrong name and wrong fit, and I've got you something, you know, he's definitely showing her, like, I care about you. But not that there's anything wrong with, you know, being nice, but, like, it's kind of, like, in that weird, like, what's crossing the line, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he's gonna be her teacher, like, would it be weird for a teacher to get you a bowling glove to help you? Or, like, is it from the beginning his intentions are you know, unpure?
I guess this is where we run into this weird thought of, like, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, I guess.
Like, he's touching her hand when she's writing, like, obviously that's not needed. He doesn't have to show her how to write a number.
But, like, at the same time, it's, like, it's one of those things where I, like, go with, like, it takes two to tango kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if she was like, no, don't do that.
And then he kept going, it would be creepy.
Yes, but, like, she's liking this because at this very moment, and this is, like, a psychological thing, it's like everyone psychologically wants to feel wanted.
Right.
And or needed. So, like, not to get all, like, super, like, deep and thoughtful in this, but, like, she's at this moment where, like, her partner is not giving her attention, so therefore she, like, is enjoying the attention she is getting from someone else.
Right. Like, technically she's not doing anything wrong per se, but there's definitely, like, tension between them.
Yeah, she's getting she's getting emotional release, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he drives her home, and then she tells him at that time, you know, like, I'm a married woman. And then we find out at this point, like, he doesn't care, basically. He's like, my mind says stop, but what was it? My mind says stop, but my body and my hips cry proceed.
Which, again, not cool.
Not cool, no. Because
Like,
at that point, she's telling him no.
Yeah.
You know, but
at the same time, he's like, let's go to brunch.
And then he over-explains what brunch is.
Okay, but, like,
She didn't know what
brunch was.
I know, but, like, he just kind of, like, really went
when
for it.
When you were like, oh, he mansplains brunch, I'm like, oh, she knows what brunch is, and he's just over. No, she had no idea what brunch is, and he's, like, over-explaining. There's
like,
a difference.
all he had to say was it's, like, kind of like breakfast, kind of like
I know, but when,
or...
like, you're like, oh, he mansplains it, I'm like, oh, is he just gonna be like, you're dumb, you don't know brunch? No, he's like, no, brunch is this. I'm like, that's not mansplaining. I think, like, mansplaining, okay, I feel like...
if she knew what it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like if I start telling you what I think mansplaining is, it's gonna be like, I feel like I'm now mansplaining.
Got you in a trap there. No, actually, I agree with you, because my memory of it was different. I thought she knew what brunch was, and he just, like, went on and on about it. So,
No.
So, yeah, but No, she didn't know what it was. But, okay, so she said no, like, I'm a married woman, but she did agree to have brunch with him. So, like, she is kind of sending him a little bit of mixed signals, I would say, at that point.
Oh, 100%.
Because it wasn't just like, hey, we're bowling lessons, you know, it's like, okay, I'll go to brunch with you. Oh, and then he just, she says okay when he says, there are 10 pins in my heart, you've knocked over 8, won't you please pick up that spare? So, like, she knows what's going on now. And she's so happy that she's getting attention that it's reflecting in other parts of her life. She makes the children special lunches and, you know, just like fills shopping bags.
She goes to bed. And she goes to bed and Homer's feeling suspicious, you know, because she comes in late.
Right. But to be fair to Marge, although in this scenario she's in the wrong, like, he stays out at the bar every night. You know what I mean? Like, right. He's never home. You know, so she's kind of, in a sense, giving him a taste of his own medicine at that point. But yeah, Homer can sense something's up, and he gets a little upset when she says that she's going to be going back to the bowling alley. So again, I got ahead of myself. I apologize. So she does the special lunches for the kids
with candy and stuff, and Bart's all excited, and Lisa's super existential about this.
Lisa is, as we've already come to know, she's smart for her age. You know, she's worried. She says that Marge is doing overcompensation for the fact that their marriage is in trouble.
Yeah, and like Lisa asks Marge if she's going bowling later, and Marge says yes.
And Lisa tells Bart that there's 8 stages of grief, and that she's in stage 3, which is fear, and that Bart's in stage 2, which is denial.
Yep.
So then we go to the diner where her and Jock are having their brunch.
And not Lisa. Marge is visibly nervous about this whole scenario. Like,
what did he say to her?
I can't remember.
She thought it was something that. She's like, don't
mimosa.
Call me. Yeah, mimosa.
And then he's like, no, mimosa is orange juice and champagne.
And she thought that he was calling her something cute in French, which that's.
You're my sweet mimosa.
Thanks, hon. So then I love this part because I like Helen Lovejoy, and I'm actually kind of like sad that they haven't utilized her more throughout the series in different ways.
Think of the children.
But she's like, she even introduces herself as the gossipy wife of the minister.
Well, like, she knows what's up. Her senses were tingling.
And she's like, ooh, juicy, you know? She's like, isn't that Marge Simpson over there having brunch with a man who isn't her husband? And I just had to come over and say hello. So she's like, she's kind of like telling Marge, like, you're in trouble, you know? And of course Jacques steps in and he's like, no, I'm just, you know, giving her a bowling lesson, and he starts doing a makeshift thing with the salt and pepper.
What do you do with despair?
Yeah. So I think she buys it and she leaves, you know. Then he tells her that he wants to meet her again, but this time at his apartment. So, I mean, he is inviting her to his place alone, which everyone knows what that means.
They're gonna make cookies?
Yes, honey, they're gonna make cookies. No, she faints. Like, she straight up faints.
Yeah.
And has a weird daydream sequence. What do you think of the little cutaway? What was your opinion on that?
She's lonely. Girl, like, she's lonely.
I mean, I like the animation of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think she looked really cool with pink hair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's fantasizing about the way she wants to be treated. You know, he dances with her. He gives her a rose. Don't they drink champagne or something? Or,
I think. But, like, the thing that I get out of it is, like, I feel like she's just seeing this, like, new thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, later on in the episode, you see that he's just kind of a schmuck.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When he's, like, talking to himself about getting lucky or whatever.
Yeah. Like, that's what I, like, you know. She's so enamored by this, like, new thing because her whole thing's, like, bad.
Right. And truly, though, we don't know his, we don't really know his inner workings, though. Like, we don't know if he would have wanted to, like, be in a relationship with her, or if he was literally just, like, in it for that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it heavily implies that that's what he wants to do that night, but, like, we don't know truly how much he cares for her, if at all.
So, like, speaking of which, during that time, like, Homer finds Marge's wrist guard.
Oh,
with
yeah,
Marge's name,
yeah.
And he's hurt.
Right.
Because he expects the worst. Like, I think most people do, though. I think that's the thing.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of held up a mirror to him, like, oh crap, I didn't treat her right, someone else could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
like,
100%.
for the first time, he's realizing, like, maybe she's not going to stick around through all my BS.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Someone else could treat her better. Bart asks him to play catch, and Homer is really obviously not feeling it, but he drags him out there. Bart hits him in the head really hard, and he just lays there.
And then, like, Bart's in another stage of grief, and he goes to Lisa.
And she's like, I'm already in stage 5, self-pity. I think the actual stages of grief are different than that, but it was just, you know, because I think stage 5 of grief is acceptance, isn't it?
No, there's 6 stages.
Oh, is there 6?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not even sure. But she says self-pity. That's where she's at. She can't even offer him any help, but Bart's panicking.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and then I may or may not have written this down word per word, because obviously it's a lengthy quote, but Bart tells Homer that he's going to give him some advice, and he's like, when something's bothering you and you're too damn stupid to know what to do about it, keep your fool mouth shut. That way you don't make things worse.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that really applies here, because
I mean, he doesn't take the advice.
no, I mean, well, he fumbles through it to a certain degree, because, like, the next thing we see is Marge in the morning making Homer's lunch before he goes to work, and she's making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he fumbles through some sort of a really weird, like, he's trying to be sweet and trying to tell her he appreciates her, but he's using peanut butter and jelly as his, like, analogy, where he's like, oh, your jelly stays right in the middle of the sandwich like it's supposed to, and whenever the other guys at the plant eat theirs, it gets all over their hands, and I don't know how you do it. Like, you just have a gift, I guess.
Did you know, like, when he's eating the sandwich at the plant, there's lettuce in it?
I did not notice that, no. Ooh, that's... Ew.
Yeah.
They must have forgot when they animated that it was supposed to be peanut butter and jelly. But yeah, like, so I mean, he didn't really take Bart's advice. He didn't keep his mouth shut, but at the same time, he really didn't. I think Marge kind of got it, what he was trying to go for, you know. But at the same time, I personally think, and this is just me, that, you know, he should have given her some sort of a better, like, he could have apologized at the very least. Like, I'm really sorry I haven't given you birthday presents that are for you. Or he could have gone out and got her a present for her. Or, you know, something to that degree. But no, I guess we're going to the peanut butter and jelly thing. So Marge is on her way to Jacques' apartment. And on her way down the street, she sees, like, a married couple, a couple pushing a baby carriage, a family having a picnic, old people together. And she even, like, sees tombstones in a graveyard of a couple next to each other. So she's getting reminded about everything. And of course, it comes to, like, a fork in the road. You know, like, one way's the power plant, one way's his apartment. And, of course, she chooses to go surprise Homer at work. And he's like, you're here for me, right? Which I think is kind of, like, supposed to be his stupid... you know, like, he's not that bright. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But they're like, what should we tell the boss? And he's like, tell him I went to the back seat of the car with the woman I love, and I won't be back for 10 minutes. And they, you know, he's carrying her out the door. So, I mean, I guess all is well, but I don't know. Again, I feel like he could have given her more of an apology kind of thing, instead of just... But I guess at the same time also, he kind of let her make her own choice, because he didn't, like, confront her about it. He didn't say, I think there's something going on with you and someone else. He just kind of, I think he kind of left it up to her.
Yeah.
You know.
Which I think you should do, though. I feel like...
If you think your partner's cheating, you should just let them...
Well, I feel like the way he did it, you know, he knew
Mhm.
So implying that he knew makes someone like, I've personally never cheated on anyone, so I had no idea what I'm talking about right now. But from what it looked like, she knew that he knew in a way.
Right.
So like
And maybe
him
he
saying
thought she'd
stuff
be
like,
happier with someone
well,
else
him
too.
saying stuff like that opened without actually calling her out, because like when you call someone out, they get super defensive about it
Right.
away. So like him being nonchalant about it gives her the time to like either admit it or like, you know what I mean,
Or end it or
end
whatever.
it or whatever. Which I mean, obviously she ends up doing, but like, you know, it's a weird episode. Weird emotional episode. The reason there was no couch gag is because Al Brooks, who voiced Jock, had 3 hours worth of material, and so like
They had to cut stuff
they
down,
had to cut stuff
obviously,
down,
and
yeah.
pick and choose, huh?
Yep.
I wonder. I really wish that we could see some of that other material. I wonder if it would have given us more insight as to what Jock was thinking and feeling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So like with this in mind, the restaurant that Jock and Margaret in is called Shorty's. It was originally intended that the chef's hat would be shown moving around in the background, implying that the owner was short, but the concept was dropped as it seems to be too much of a silly idea.
Huh.
Yeah. So the episode features the first appearance of bowling alley Barney's Bowlerama. The original backstory Barney's Bowlerama was that it was owned by Barney's Gumble. Over the time, it changed to Barney just being an employee, as the writers could not imagine Barney owning anything. It was later revealed that Barney's uncle was the owner. The exterior of the Bowlerama was designed by Eric Steffini.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. So, let's go into what the Society rated it. And the Society rated it a 7.5, with 13% rating it 10 out of 10, 9% rating it 10 out of 6, 26.5% rating it 8 out of 10, 26.6 beating it in a sheer 0.1 margin for 7%, 13% for 6, 4.2 for 5, 2.2 for 4, 0.08 for 3, 0.4 for 1, and 1.8 for people who voted it 1 out of 10.
So basically, it's a solid 7-8 episode
Just
average.
Simpsons episode. With that in mind, I would like to read some reviews. Near a Strike, 8 stars. Not too shabby. This Simpsons episode really nails some of the dynamics of the Simpsons family. This episode, okay.
That's all it was.
That's all it was. Lame, but okay, fine. So I'll go first this time. I'm gonna go with them as it is an average episode, so I'm gonna give it a solid 7 for me personally. I didn't really have any like. I think it was really, really. I think it was a really good episode, but to me, like, I feel like my pinnacle of top episodes is Moaning Lisa. So like everything else is kind of just foddering behind that.
Right.
So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. I'm debating on this one. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? The overall idea that Marge gets a glimpse into the way that someone else could treat her is a good story in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they did it is a little different to me. Like I don't even really mind the bowling thing. I think I just don't like Jock as a character, and I'm not sure why. Just something about him rubs me the wrong way, and I needed more context into how he, I need to know, was he
The context,
just like
he was definitely like, even in the review it says like he was definitely like that scene. He was like super excited, like he knows what he's gonna do.
Well, yeah, and I get that, but I mean, like, does he actually want more from her than that, or was it literally just like a trying to get a one night stand?
I think it was one of those smash and dashes, but
I think that makes it even worse. I think like that makes it worse for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it would have been nicer to, in my opinion, they could have made it better by, the guy actually being like a legit good guy,
mm-hmm.
and Homer realizing, like, hey, I need to actually step it up as a husband.
Mhm.
And like I mentioned earlier, either getting her a present actually for her, or like apologizing for his behavior in some way, or the best gift is change behavior, you know. I know that he gave her like space, you know, because he was like, okay, I'll watch the kids while you go to the bowling alley.
Uh-huh.
But just, you know, forgetting, not for like, yes, forgetting her birthday and then running out and getting yourself a present instead of like getting her a present. Like, I mean, that's pretty messed up. Like, I get that it's supposed to be funny, but yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with a 5 because I don't know. I'm not 1,000% sure on what would make it better, besides just those little things that I threw out. But like, I just know that something about it just isn't sitting with me well.
All right. No, that's
So.
understandable. Well, guys, that has been episode 9 slash, it's technically 10, but I count the Super Eye Patch Wolf as its own thing. Of The Simpsons, Duff and Donuts. Next week's episode is episode 10, Homer's Night Out. Thanks, guys, for listening. Have a good day.